What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the Quartering. I hope you're having a wonderful day in NBA 2K20. NBA 2K20 announced that it's going to have the WNBA in it. Now, the WNBA players have been in NBA 2K, I think, since 2017 or 2018. But the jokes are unbelievable. And of course, you know, video game players, enjoyers of the NBA 2K20 series, aren't allowed to make jokes. The game journals were, of course, completely out of their mind, offended that anyone would possibly make a joke about the WNBA, because only gamers would make a joke about the WNBA. And, well, that's not necessarily true.
And at the top of the second half, it's 16-9. Easton leads the scoring with 4.
And that's why she commands $7,000 a year. These gals sure do make it look difficult.
But is having this minor skill worth being so unattractive? That's for the fan to decide. Yay!
And in fact, the WNBA is a laughing stock that has lost money, each of its 22 years in a row. The last 22 years in a row. Those numbers haven't led. So the play on the court has never been better. With Breanna Stewart and Sue Bird leading the Seattle Storm to a championship, most of the playoff positions weren't decided until the final days of the season. Television ratings were up 30%, and the Game 3 clincher of the WNBA Finals was the highest rated on ESPN since 2010. Well, I assume it must have been on during a large layover in some airports. Buoyed by the strong ratings, the network increased the number of games it will cover next year. Metrics were also up for League Pass, merchandise sales, and social media. Oh, great. Oh, okay, good news. Yet those numbers haven't led to the league and its owners making any money. The WNBA has lost significant money the last 22 years, including $12 million last season. On average, we've lost over $10 million a year every year we've operated, NBA Commissioner Adam Silver told the Associated Press in October. Attendance across the league was down nearly an average of 1,000 fans per game. That's significant because basketball stadiums aren't that big, or courts, or whatever you want to call it. Maybe 20,000, 30,000. So a significant percentage. But that, of course, wasn't the issue. NBA 2K announced it, and of course, all the hilarious jokes were flowing in. This one's probably my favorite. The NBA 2K20 player control moves, the all WNBA chefs. Special moves, you've got AB, fold clothes, XY, feed the baby, ABX, do every single chore in the house. Of course, if you tap Y 50 times, you enter maternity leave, but you've also got the controls for moving the vacuum. You've got how to paint your toenails, Y to make a sandwich, B to stir the pot, X to unload the dryer, and of course A, everyone's favorite, which is plate the meals, but you don't want to plate the meals without, of course, using the right analog stick to wash and chop the vegetables. But of course, all video games media lost their mind over harmless jokes. Look, the WNBA is a joke. That isn't a commentary on the persons, any of the individuals in the league, but it is a joke. Nobody cares about it. Nobody goes to the games. Nobody watches the games on TV. Nobody buys the merch. And the only reason they're even in this game is clearly just an add-on. The NBA 2K20's gameplay reveal for the WNBA is met with sickening, saddening mockery. A terrible look for one of video games' largest communities. I'll be honest, my first reaction to the headlines was, oh, come on. A 2K sports blog going into greater detail about the WNBA players and teams who make their debut in NBA 2K20. That's not true. Great journalism. Which was met with instant, unwarranted rejection and very ugly middle finger from a lot of fans. Actually, the rejection is warranted. Now, you could make the argument, I think people will make the argument that, look, you don't have to play with the WNBA characters in NBA 2K20, and they're right. The question remains, though, how much time could they have spent actually improving the other game, the game that the 99% of people that play the game care about, improving gameplay, improving, animations, improving player face looks, all sorts of things. Like all these little extra add-ons, of course, are taking time away from developing the core game. Yeah, but come on, I thought. You can go to Reddit or to social media, find anybody to make a nasty, bad remark about anything. It's not peculiar to video games. It's not peculiar to video games either. Look at the times ESPN has put Wallman in the announcing booth as lead play-by-play, not sideline reporter, and a few idiots with a combined 221 Twitter followers are making cracks about sandwiches in kitchens. Okay, so why are you offended? And why are the two largest video game outlets in the world covering it? You know who's not covering it, by the way? Exclusively Games.com. There's only 15 hours left on our biannual fundraiser. Please make today the day you back. We're almost there. We're at 86% of the way. We've got to cross the finish line today, so make sure you check that out. I'll continue here. But any informed and honest view reveals that no, this wasn't rancid and widespread to warrant indignation. Here is a meme shared on Twitter that mods of NBA 2K subreddit spent a lot of time removing, amongst others. That's the one I just showed you. For some reason, it's not loading. There's a ton of don't care memes, and there's the oblique jokes about layups and fundamentals, which is another belittling way to say the sport, its players and fans don't deserve any respect. No, you can respect them, but, you know, the actual numbers dictate the fact that nobody cares about the NBA. That's not the women's fault. It's the fault that this league should never have existed, or should never have been called the WNBA, because it creates some sort of expectation that you're going to have the same type of experience as an NBA game, which you just quite frankly will not. There's that in the underneath of the official blog and the 2K's Facebook. Yes, this cretinous stuff is called out by some fans, and not that this representative of every single gamer in the community of millions. Still, look at which ones have the most thumbs up and rollful faces. So you go out of your way to say, well, this isn't all gamers, but you're still going to be upset. The range of ratings should be from 30 to 60. I can't genuinely wait for this. While I'm bummed that we aren't getting full-fledged My League yet, a season mode is a huge step forward for year one. There you go. That's a positive comment. Cannot wait for all the layups and fundamentals. Not knocking the WNBA, but I could care less about them being in the game. Release more details of my career and the park. Sad knowing that they put so much time and energy and effort into this than they did the servers. Sure, bring this in, but only after perfecting the NBA gameplay and servers. See, that's obviously the argument that I think has the most merit. You know, if you have a fully polished game, I mean, look, we have Madden and NBA 2K. These are year-over-year franchises that only give players the microest of upgrades every year because they have a built-in selling tactic, and that's the fact that people feel like they need to buy the new game every year for those updated rosters and the updated jerseys that they change all the time to get people to buy more jerseys and all sorts of baloney stuff like that. But mostly, the game remains the same. The only reason I'm playing Madden 20 this year is because I have the Origin Premiere for the channel, and I got it essentially for free or whatever. It was already paid for. The game's basically the same. A couple of updated animations, a tiny upgrade on the voiceover, the commentary. That's about it. It's got the same old bugs it's always got. It's got the same old pointless review process. You know, even when you can see clearly in the game that you're inbounds and you challenge the play, they don't reverse it. They have all sorts of ridiculous microtransactions in both of these games. You should probably worry about making the people that actually spend the money happy, but, you know, that's neither here nor there. Note how many experts say the WNBA teams and players are fine, but only after they are perfect servers, whatever that means. Only after more depth is added to My Park, My League, etc. Kotaku correctly notes that the WNBA players were first added to NBA Live 18. The response was mainly supportive. It's very hard to find this kind of vitriol, any shade thrown, mainly because there was just so little for those players to do on closer inspection. But they got a bigger boost in last year's game. Since the opinions of male sports fans take primacy, well, there's just way more of them. Here's mine. Oh, yeah, because I'm sure you're going to have you sound like a real sports fan. It's hard for me to take seriously consumer criticisms about an iterative development and microtransactions when a huge developer of massive sports franchise adds 12 teams, more than 100 players with rating signature moves, attendant animations, 24 combinations, a meaningful playbook for it, and the community responds with anodized clay, monologue, and goalpost moving blather about how the WNBA takes something away from bigger priorities. Well, it does. It absolutely does. The game isn't even out, but somehow everyone has to be zero-sum view. There's no way NBA 2K20 could have added the WNBA and still given, I don't know, a crisper jab step for Paul George. Well, that's true. That's what's true. Madden NFL 20. Wait, are you... Okay. It's hard for me to take seriously consumer criticisms about iterative development and microtransactions. So you're saying that adding the WNBA justifies NBA 2K's ridiculous microtransactions? There are microtransactions which were so bad that it had countries like Belgium make them change the way they run their loot boxes. Basketball is my worst sport. As a video game player, as a fan, a writer, everything, because there's so much to do. I do not understand. But yet you're writing this article. I wouldn't call NBA 2K series exclusionary, but I wouldn't say it's the most accessible mainstream sports phenomenon. The granular level of play it's achieved is simply mesmerizing, but it's also a little intimidating. Yeah, people like that. Because you know what happens if you don't have all this depth and detail to a game? You get bored. You know what happens when you get bored? You don't buy microtransactions. And of course, Kotaku, same thing. NBA 2K announces WNBA players, a river of mean comments follows. Yesterday, when WNBA star Breanna Stewart, it's funny that you call them a star. When you call them a star, and nobody's heard of them. I mean, I've never heard of this person. I let her know a fan she'll be in 2K20 coming out September 9th. The top response asked whether a basketball game which has my career mode also has my kitchen mode too. What? Come on. The 20-year-old basketball sim is finally getting woman at the Basketball Pros Publishers Take-Two announced yesterday. It's just as important for girls and boys to be able to see females as role models. That's what video games are supposed to do, I suppose. Program people. Candace Parks, NBA 2K20 trailer. While a lot of fans agree that they're expressing overflowing enthusiasm for the memorialization of these athletes' talents, a contingent of oversensitive people are spewing vitriol all over the NBA 2K social media. This is a hilarious meme. Again, the idea that you had to remove some level of effort from creating this video game to add this is an absolute fact. I will admit or agree to the fact that you could basically always use that to say something you don't like. It's not a great argument because you could basically say like, well, the sneakers aren't there, so don't add these players or don't add. My biggest critique is that it's hilariously out of touch. It is a feature that no one will use. But moreover, or more hilarious, is the way the video game journalists are reacting to a few jokes on social media and how this isn't going to move the sales bar for NBA 2K20 at all. But this is modern day video games journalism. And if you don't want to follow that, you could always follow Exclusively Games at www.exclusivelygames.com. I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.